Right. So we previously discussed about how to carry about this assignment for Laravel. So this was a basic assessment, and what we have here is a suggested solution. Okay, so first thing is we need to get this file, right? So I've just created an empty folder here. So I'm gonna put everything. So I first need to download it. So I can download it using that, or I could even just have downloaded it directly from the browser. Doesn't really matter. Run like this, and then chosen to save it. Right, so save as. I could have chosen that option or this one. Find one to be much faster. So you can either use this wget or curl. If you use curl, you have to provide this flag. Okay, so you're able to download the file. Right, but since I already have it, I'm not going to download it anymore. Then the next thing is that I need to import this part, right? So that just needs me to log into my SQL. Right. So after this, I need to make sure that there is a database for this data to reside in, which is quite easy. You can actually Google it. If you don't know how to do it, it should have been. So how to create database SQL, like the first option. So usually goes something like this. So in this case, you're gonna create this, just gonna call it Laravel challenge. Then you're gonna use this schema. Then we're going to import the data, right? So the data is here. We talked about how to import data previously. We talked about using source, right? So you're going to use source. Come right here and bring in this data. So it's this, just to make the path complete. Okay, so now we have our data right there. That's all we needed. Next step, we need to install Laravel, which again can be very easily Google. So again, just to show how this could have been done, make sure you can just go right there and Google how to install Laravel. As I said, I've already done this before, so this is for me usually the easiest way to go about it. So you just come right here and you go composer, create projects, and then you wait for this to load. Right, so this usually takes quite some time. So because I have an existing Laravel installation, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna copy it here. Right, so I'm just gonna copy it here. Okay. Usually I think I've distributed this in class. Then of course you need to extract it here. So just gonna extract it here. Okay, now we have our Laravel install. So I'm just gonna remove this because I no longer need it. Okay, so I'm just gonna give this a better name. So I'm gonna call it my search app. Okay, so once we have that, we can now go into application and see what's inside there. Okay, so this so far this is an empty installation of Laravel. Right, so maybe some things I would like to do to it. First of all, I would like to edit this .env file just to make sure that it has the correct credentials. Okay, so the database name is what we selected here, which was, let me confirm that, it was laravel challenge. So I'm just gonna go right ahead and change this to laravel challenge, and look at the username. This is just my username default that I have on my test machine. Okay, so this is just okay, so just to make sure that laravel can connect. Okay, then the next thing is we need to create the model, which you can quickly see how to do that. So if you look at PHP artisan, you can see here we have where's the make model. So let's see, so we have it here. All right, so PHP artisan make model. So our model ideally should mirror what our code does, so our table looks like. So just gonna call it zip code. Then you can check it here, it's already connected. Okay, quickly check. So there we are. So this now already exists. So we can make sure that we are calling in the right table here. So because we have created a table, it's called zip codes. Okay, so good to go. Of course, if you use the underscore method like this for your class, then you wouldn't need to define this protected table, as we discussed before. So this overrides that particular behavior. Right, so now once we have that, can go ahead and make our controller right somewhere around here. So again, can look here into our make, see if there's an option to make our controller, and there you go, there's an option to make our controller. So we're gonna go right ahead and make it. So this controller is gonna search for zip, right? Or you can just call it a zip controller. That makes more sense. Okay, so far so good. Come right here, check if our controller has come through. So there we are. So I have a new controller. Now of course you're interested in search, you're not interested in most of these methods. So you're just gonna go right ahead and just delete them. Don't need this right now. Okay, so there we go. So now what we want here is we want this to be able to search. Okay, so we want, when we get search, we want to render the form. Okay, and then we also want to be able to post to the form. Okay, so in case you're wondering, I've talked about this in controllers. This is this is called implicit controllers, which again you can easily find here. There you go. Talked about this implicit controllers. Okay, so once we have that, this part needs to load a form, so this will load the form. Okay, so this will search and render results. Okay, so you're good to go. Next step, we need to make in our view. To go to resources, views, and then we make a new file, which we're gonna call our search form. So we're just gonna call it search.blade.php, and just go directly into that. So in this form, we're just gonna put in the relevant data. So just gonna put in a form. That's it. So form is gonna submit to URL we talked about before again. So URL is gonna be search, right? Or actually just gonna sum here, it's gonna be to search. But in this case, since this is the only root, you just have it like that. It really doesn't matter, right? So you can even delete all this. You don't even need to specify the URL. Just put in that would also have worked, right? So then we can once more change this. We say that the method here should be post. So this should be post, and then this is submit. So maybe just put in something better. Say search. So this should be search, right? So also here again we need to put in our search field. So there you go. So we're gonna call this search. This is gonna be a text field, right? So this is case sensitive. So far so good. So this is our form, and then in case we have results, we're gonna post them right here, right? So if we have results, here's where they are gonna be. So the results are gonna be in can look into many. We don't care about a lot of these fields. We only care about city, state, and zip, right? So you only care about city. So in this case, you're just gonna make this form a bit better, just like that. Okay, so you see city, state, and then zip. So in case we get data, it's gonna come right there. Okay, then here, right? So we're gonna specify some way of looping this. So we're gonna look into for each, which again we have talked about in templates. So we're gonna pass in maybe a results variable. Okay. Then you're gonna end this out. Gonna end for each. Okay. So that inside here, this is also will of course be an instance of what we had here. So just close this one out. You don't need this. Okay. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna just paste the 3 in. So now from result is where we're gonna be getting our information from. So from result, you're gonna get the city. Okay. Then from result again, you're gonna get the state. Okay. Again, from result, you're gonna get the zip. And that's it. So just like that, we already done with our form. So now we need to go back to our controller, right? So this is our controller to somewhere here, right? So we can see when we get search, we need to provide in the results because it's gonna be nothing. So right now we're just gonna provide that so that make sure it works. Then we return the view. So the view in this case is search, just like that. Then you're gonna pass in our results, right? So we said the results for the search is gonna be this. So we need to pass this in just to make sure that you have satisfied whatever condition was given here. So once you're done with that, of course, you need to provide our route. So if we look at our routes, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to override the default route. So that have like, oh sorry, you can just leave that so that you can have the root search, which goes to search controller, sorry, zip controller. Okay, so this is supposed to be controller. Say this is an implicit controller after all. Okay, so okay, let's see. Yes, we've forgotten to put this here. Okay, so far so good. So let's stress test this. Let's run our server. So let's look at what that has for us. Okay, so this is the home directory. Let's try out search, see what that has. Okay, so we need to provide a root here. So it's talking to zip controller. Okay, so this doesn't work because this will require search. So I'm gonna change this from this to zip. So have zip. So this works now. And now provide a root as zip, then search. Okay, so now there we go. There is our form. Now I want to test if the form posts correctly here, which you're gonna do by dumping all the data that is currently there. Again, as we discussed previously, that's how you post data to your application. Okay, so we need to give in our CSRF token. Talked about our CSRF token again. Cannot post forms without having it. Okay, so let's go to zip, search, straight. Okay, it's posting to the wrong end, but at least now we know where our endpoint is, so we're going to be posting to this endpoint. So now we can edit our form, which is here. Come now change it to what we now want, what you have found out to be the proper root. Okay, go. Okay, so far so good. You can see already passing in our terms. So this is working up to here. Now we just need to tie in the rest of our data. For now, we're just gonna go right ahead and just test out our zip code. So we're just gonna bring it here just to make sure that it's connecting properly to the database. So we don't want to flood our browser at the moment. So let's try this once more. To remove this part first, so that you can test it. Okay, so you can see it's getting the data as it were. Now next we need to see how we could be able to search this, which you can quickly look how we do it here. So we need to say search, say in laravel. Let's see. Search laravel eloquent. Okay, so this is an easy way of finding what you want. So for example, this is using eloquent or a search of a database. and just like that we look, there we go. So we are being told this is how you do it. So we need to just go back to our models just to see how exactly laravel pulled it off. So what they're talking about here, talking about something called where, right? And again we have looked at where. So there you go. So it looks like you can use where here to find our information that we want, and we can see other implementation of where, right? So you can actually go right ahead and look at this documentation so that you can see all that where can do for you, right? So just like that we have our way of searching. So now our results are like here, like this. So now we have our results coming from here, right? Okay, so we want that. Then we said we want to search across 3 parameters. So we say that. So we said for us we wanted to check for equality, though we could easily check for anything else as well. Then the search term comes from the input, right? So the search term comes from the input. We already talked about getting stuff from the input. We should do like that. Okay, so that's how you get stuff from the input. So we continue here once more. Okay, so there we go. So just like that we have a way for checking for city. Just for simplicity's sake, we are gonna test this one out just to see if it works. So I'm just taking 10 so that I can minimize the number of results I'm actually working on here. I've just copied this part out because both of them expect that kind of result. Okay. So when you put in our search there, this will be something that exists. Maybe this Rosedale. Search it. Okay, just like that we have what we're missing. So you have every city that's called Rosedale. Let's see about the zip. What was the zip code? Okay, so the zip code is not zip, it has to be fully pronounced out. So coming back to our result here, I put in the zip, it needs to be pronounced to zip code. Okay. So we search that. We searched before Rosedale. Okay, now we have everything coming. Now I want to make some changes to this. And instead of doing that, now what we want is, we want that when this information is posted, we want to search across city, state and zip. This is a multiple query. This is an OR query, so we want it to be in city or state or zip. So you can just say eloquent or search, and then you can see what you can get here. Okay, so let's get back here for OR, see if there's anything it can help us with. Okay, so it's not there. You can look at query builder. So here I see more things about where. Then we can see here we have an OR statement. So again, an easy way of looking at this queries, then looking at more of the data. Okay, so just need to do an OR where. So when you come here, instead of closing it off at this zip, you just come and continue adding stuff. So you say where zip. Now here is where things get more interesting. So you can say, for example, to use like, which gives us a better comparison, or equals, which forces the comparison. This is really a choice. I want you to look at OR in your own time. For the sake of simplicity, we're just gonna stick to exact matches. So this gives us exact matches. Next. So we had 3 matches, that one and zip code. Once more, pass in the search. Okay, good to go. So do that, close it out, then go right ahead, save it, then see how our results look like now. Right, so we can look for more stuff to look at, data to look for. So this 6401, see if we can find any results for it. Okay, so again I'm confused, this is not zip, this is zip code. So this is one that shouldn't be there, it's supposed to be state. Okay, so this is state. So the number we are searching for, there we have it. We really don't need this limit. I was putting it so that we can see how it should look like. So now we can search for anything. Let's see. So that wasn't there. But you can see we search for New York, get out of results, state, and maybe all the different zip codes that are available. So that's it. That was what the assignment was meant to do. So you get a search form, so it's tabular manner, it's the endpoint. Okay, so if you want, you can change this to zip search. So instead of this going directly to search, you can change it here, just to make sure that we fully comply with what you're told to do in the assignment. Okay, so is that one. So I need to go to our roots file here, actually here. Okay, so to make that happen, just need to provide in our root. So this is if you don't want to use our implicit controller, and then you leave this out to zip controller at get search. And then you do the same, but now if it's post, now here it's post search, then of course we will remove this part because it's no longer needed. And now our root will be as we had said originally, like that. We no longer need this root since it's fully represented. I'll go ahead and now try it out. Okay, so now when we get here, we get the form. When you search for something, you get the results. See, if we had state, get all the things where state would have worked. Okay, so that's what was expected of the assignment. Thank you for your submissions, and I hope this has been helpful.